this side, are they off?
No. It is because we have to reserve.
Oh, okay. Let's get it in there. And then now. It's doing
Okay, now let's see.
It has a great print. I'm not sure how it looks on the top. I don't know. Mine is really attractive. Mine is attractive. Well, you know.
Yeah. There you go. See.
Yeah, there it is.
I love a good pun. Good on.
So you go back up, roll up. Yeah,
I'm not one of those people to figure out, oh, if I got
Okay,
that.
It's not like she speaker and screen.
Give me one copy of the budget.
Yeah. That one, maybe.
But I mean, you can at least tell.
That's right.
You could like make this or make the but I think it's probably
No, this can go, this all can go.
You copy?
I think here it can go up another.
Copy that? That would be the print out. Share, thanks. You know,
Hello, everyone. Thanks for gathering. As we meld together our two churches, we have had in the two congregations slightly different procedures. So, United some 15 years ago adopted the practice of presenting the budget a month ahead of time, mostly to be able to field questions and objections so that by the time we took the vote, it was pretty much in place and something that everyone could accept. Sanctuary being maybe a little more modern, sent the budget out by email. So, belt and suspenders wise, we're doing both this year. We'll see how it works out. So appreciate your attention to this, whether you did it at home or you're going to do it now, but these are your resources given to God's work by this church, and we want you to understand it. And now the man with the numbers, he's going to explain it all to us.
I hope I don't have to explain too much, but there is certainly different line items to be aware of in this budget than you've seen in the past, and that's because we're a different church than we used to be 6 months ago. And so there's new elements to be aware of and to look at. And I'm going to guess that if I hit this, we'll go to the next slide. It's up there. Someone up there is going to move it to the next slide. That's how it works. Okay. No, it is up there, but that's okay.
Is
It's all good. It's all good. It's about to happen. I'm going to press this button right here. Press it again. Harder. There we go. In any event, you all have had a chance to review this budget via email. It's also on a piece of paper in front of some of you guys. I'm going to walk through some of the high levels of it and then field some questions. Yesterday we had a mini golf outing for my son, and the adult that had the best score won this prize. The person who gives me the best question could win that same prize because I think Jeff brought it back. But by prize, I don't know if you really want this prize. It was a little bottle of Fireball. So, but in all honesty, I do appreciate good questions, and so go ahead and ask that away. In any event, let me go through kind of the high-level pieces. We've got 3 elements of income for our church body. There's the local tithes and offerings. There's the PATH tuition that comes in from our ministry of PATH. And then other revenue, that would be the rent that comes in, as well as some interest income from the money that we have in our bank account and the rebates that we get on our MasterCard. So those three are the resources available, about $475,000, almost $500,000 over the course of the year. And then our expenses, I would break those up into kind of 5 main categories. We've got our operating operations, just to kind of do the office supplies, the professional fees, the worship expenses, the things that make what we do here viable on each and every Sunday. We've got discipleship, and while this is a smallish line item, it's more just the things that we can do to appreciate our volunteers, some of the leadership development things that happen, the ways that we can enable ourselves to be better disciples out in the world. And then there's missions and outreach. And there's 2 main elements of that. One is the Path preschool that we're running. They have some expenses on an annual basis that's built into that. And then also the mission giving that we've been, United has been very faithful in giving. We're continuing that same budget line item unchanged this coming year. That was something that, as our leadership team thought about it, looking into this merge, we said, hey, we're not going to change that, so it's still there. And then 2 other ones, the facility, that's this building, the expenses of running the building, some capital expenses that we have planned coming up in this next year, and then lastly our staff. And you can see staff is the big chunk of what we spend money on here at Crown Hill Church. But the number that we have here is kind of a bottom-up number for the staff. It looks at what we're currently paying people. We're expecting some cost of living raises to be done for our PATH people at the beginning of next school year, and for our staff, we typically do those in the December timeframe. And then we have an open worship position that we have a line item still funded for. We didn't spend it in this last calendar year, which is why you can see a difference between the actuals being quite a bit less than what we're projecting for this year ahead. That's part of that difference. It's not entirely all of it, and I'd be happy to dive into the weeds if anyone really wanted to know about it. But that's where we're standing right now. You can see our net income right now is at minus $34,000 for the year. Does that give me cause and concern and worry? Not terribly much, and here's why. We do have an operating reserve of about, if Bob was here, he'd tell me exactly, but it's on the order of $200,000, $300,000. And so, well, we may be dipping into that a little bit. Another space that we could say not so worried about is because the PATH tuition is kind of a guess. It's based on how many kids enroll. We've had it as high as what would ordinarily be on this fiscal year's numbers, somewhere in the $75,000 range. And this number right now, it just projects kind of the same enrollment. If we have enrollment pick up, then PATH would, and has in the past, brought in some extra resources to the organization. So that's the high-level presentation, and I would love some questions. I already see one from Bob.
So you mentioned about the discipleship. You mentioned about the discipleship and outreach for the church. Are you including the things that were sanctuaries as well?
The mission giving that Sanctuary had done in the past?
Like
Or-
Wake Church and some other startups?
So in the past 2 fiscal years or so, we have not been giving anything to those other organizations as Sanctuary. We had elected at one point to pause that. And so there's no line items that are in the current budget that would be attributed to things that Sanctuary has historically supported beyond the PATH preschool ministry. Great question. If anyone would like to know the full laundry list of the organizations that we're planning to support by missions, I would encourage you to talk to Glenda. She could rattle those off pretty quickly for you. I think, Jen, you could probably also do that. But we do have a missions committee that's attributing that funds and breaking up where those dollars are going. And if you want to join that mission committee, let me tell you, there's probably space. More questions? We can't just have one question and Bob get the bottle of Fireball, right?
Everybody's not asking questions.
No one's gonna duck. This is my clever plan. Nobody wants a small bottle of Fireball. Maybe you're just so overwhelmed with all the numbers and trying to think it through. I would point out that the link that comes in the email had 2 tabs on it. One is what you see here, and then the other had some more detailed line items broken out. So feel free to kind of dive into that spreadsheet and poke around at numbers. Feel free to email myself or Dick, the 2 treasurers, co-treasurers, and we can probably answer some questions in this month ahead. The reason that we wanted to present this now was so that there was actually some time to chew on and think about some of these things that said, oh, what about this? Oh, we do have more questions. Santu.
How do we use the budget? Like, say, for like discipleship or whichever one. Is it like, can we go $1 over 7,451? Or like, yeah, how do, say we bring in more money than we expected, does that mean we can spend more money than we expected? Or how does that happen?
Yeah, typically, we, in our bylaws, I believe, passed some numbers that said, hey, if we go above this threshold in a particular category, then council would get authorization to make that an okay, and then a number even beyond that. So it's 5,000 is what council could approve on a budget line item, and 20,000 would be that the council would come back to the congregation as a whole to say, hey, let's spend some more money here. And a good way to think about that is like $20,000 is another staff position. So the worship position that's available, it's about a 50% position. Over the course of the year, I think we have it listed out as like $26,000. So that would be if we said, hey, we need to change the staff position from just a worship person at halftime to maybe we found the ideal person that we want full-time as a second staff. We're going to come back to the congregation and say, can we fund this? Yeah.
Under staff situation, I know that includes salary, but does it also include health insurance premiums?
Yep, there's staff, there's benefits, there's retirement benefits, there's disability insurance for the people that qualify for that. Yeah, so the dollars is not take-home dollars for people, but it's the dollars that it costs us to employ. James.
If for whatever reason Ron is unable to continue being our facility guy, do we have?
Well, the current Ron funding is built into our budget. So if Ron is no longer the person who can fulfill that role, we would probably be looking to deploy those budgeted dollars to hire a different individual or figure out a different way to staff that role. But yeah, it's a great question. And before I get there, Summer's raised her hand several times.
You mentioned that we chose to pause the local giving, the outreach giving.
At Sanctuary, yep.
Is that, how would we reconsider that?
I would encourage the outreach team to consider how they want to spend some of that money, and if there's a reason to reallocate or change the allocation for what we're doing to missionaries, to say, hey, Aurora Commons has been something that Sanctuary has been passionate about, or I think the food bank has already been something locally that we've supported, but that would be their decision to be influenced.
I think just as a congregation member, I would love to challenge us to not cut into missions giving, but to consider giving more in order to, like, yeah, commit more so that we're able to support some of our local partners again. That feels like a value that we as a church have held throughout our existence. It's the local as well as the international.
Yep, and one of the local line items that has been in our mission giving has been to the Evangelical Free local chapter here, which I believe is going to be changed where that distribution falls in this coming fiscal year.
Yeah.
I noticed we doubled our capital improvements account. Is there a certain project? I know Frank isn't here, but do we have certain something in the church we need doing?
Frank's got a couple things in mind. He's been a little bit cagey about exactly what these are. The $5,000 from last year was to the playground, and then there was and the playground cost a lot more than $5,000, but they came out of different fund buckets that didn't show up as actual, real actuals that showed up on these financials. But that $10,000 is the number that Frank was asking for. I think some of the things that were high on his list were around improvements on efficiency for heating, cooling, as well as replacing the tower lights and getting the light bulbs there up and running again. But he doesn't have exactly like, oh, this is what it's going to cost and this is the vendor that's going to do it. So kind of a ballpark. And if we don't spend that much, then we're not just going to say, oh, let's spend some more money because we have extra funds. That's always been the mindset of Sanctuary coming into these things to say, yes, there's a budget line item here for $1,000, but I didn't spend it, so I'm just not going to spend it. If, yeah, cash of what we do doesn't always reflect exactly what we plan to do. Those dollars are available, but if they're not spent, that's also great. Kathy.
Related to that question, how confident are we in our knowledge of the condition of the building and whether or not there are deferred maintenance surprises looming in our future? Do we have a plan for how we might reserve for such things?
That's a question I'm going to punt to somebody else who might have a better sense of the building, but I do know the roof was replaced within the past 10 years, plus or minus. And I'm going to let you...
Without going into the specifics of it, I think Frank has a very good appreciation of the condition of the building, which, generally speaking, is quite good. There are things, there's some old water heaters, and if you have a tank water heater, you know how those fail. All runs water everywhere. But, and the heating system is way outdated. It's all electric resistant, so it's quite expensive to operate. But my impression is that Frank is quite on top of that and well informed of it.
I can speak to the heating scenario in that Frank and I are meeting with a representative from Seattle City Light in a few weeks. He is a person who works with people in large buildings to go through your energy usage and figure out where the best bang for your buck is and where Seattle City Light might be able to give us rebates or incentivize us to make replacements. So I know Frank is way on the ball. I just happen to know somebody that I could connect us with. So.
Great questions. That viral fireball is going to be hard to choose who hits it. James is just all about the questions, though.
The more questions I have, higher my percentage. So there was the benevolence fund from that Sanctuary is typically done. Looks like that zeroed out, getting rolled into the United's free will giving fund.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Ralph to explain what we intend with this, but it's a great pickup.
So we're adopting the practice that United had, is to keep that as outside the main budget. It's certainly a thing to which we encourage people to contribute, but it's a separate fund accounted for separately and administered by the deacons. And it's been a healthy ministry. Basically, we look to support members of the congregation who need to be, say, tided over for some period of time if their finances aren't working out or some unanticipated expenses come. And then from that, there's homeless and various people who make the rounds looking for support, so buying the McDonald's and the other sort of cards and things that help them get by. That's largely how that is spent.
So if I wanted to give money towards that fund separate from regular tithing, you just write it. This is for the...
Right, direct your check or whatever to that. And I think we also... There's a box, and in Planning Center you can also designate that separately.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, in Sanctuary's history, we only had elders, and elders at Sanctuary oversaw all of that. At United, we also have deacons, and so we've given the deacons that oversight, which is nice. That means I don't need to know about the people that have needs. It remains much more confidential. And I believe that the deacons have a different bank account that all of that stuff goes out of. So that's how benevolence works for Crown Hill Church going forward. Jen?
So at any point, will we be getting just a general report on how much has been given, how much has been given away, like those kind of numbers? Will we hear that at some point during the year?
It's a great thing to get, and I believe that one of the historical practices that United Church was doing was kind of an annual report of here's what's been done in each of the different ministry areas. And so that would be a great way to get that information.
We've never really given a report on benevolence, but it does get an annual audit.
Okay.
So it is getting looked at by whoever does the audit, the benevolence gets a separate audit.
Okay. I think it would be nice to know or ballpark how much we're giving away, just because it's cool, not because I'm critical.
I think it was the last year I was deacon chairman, I actually put a benevolence report. It didn't say who got anything, but it did say, this is what came in, this is what went out.
And these type of things were helped. You know,
Right,
we helped
yeah,
with
general categories.
hearing aids or
Yeah.
by no amounts.
Confidentiality is
Yeah.
it's kind of internet.
If you have a heart for benevolence, there's also space on the deacon board available for people to join. It's a new element for us sanctuarians, so maybe there's some pent-up desire to serve that way. I know one of our elders is going to change from being an elder to a deacon and go that route.
And they meet
Thanks.
on Sunday after church, once a month. So,
I didn't hear.
They meet on Sundays after church once a month. Very low barrier to getting here and meeting.
already here.
More questions on budget. There's a couple other pieces of information we did want to go through while we have everyone here. So if we don't have more budget questions, I'm going to hand it over to Amy or Ralph to jump on that.
Thank you, Steve. So I'll take this moment to emphasize a point that is important and one that you hear maybe too often, and that is, of course, all this depends on your giving. We are projecting a deficit. I don't think we'll be deficit at the end of the year, but it's an indication that we're ambitious, we're hopeful, we're faithful that it will come through. So costs go up, we need to raise the salaries of our staff to keep up with cost of living. If you're a homeowner in Seattle and receive a bill from Seattle Public Utilities, you know that's high and rising as the cost of treating sewage and stormwater goes up and up. So as our costs go up, I would hope that you would examine your giving, and if you've been promoted or you have the resources to support us as you can. I think we've explained the benevolence fund, how that works. And as Summer pointed out, there are lots of things that we could do. We certainly can use with more staff. We would like to provide even more support to our overseas missions. And there is outreach support that we can accomplish around here that would serve God. You know, this church exists to promote the spiritual life of the people who are members, but also to be a beacon for the word to those people who maybe are sliding and need encouragement to get in a better relationship with God. So thank you for considering what you're giving and seeing if maybe you can support us more. To the question about the benevolence fund, just to preview things, in the past, United's annual meeting, the equivalent of which we're going to do on the 7th of June, featured detailed reports from all the various committees, the trustees, the deacons, the elders, and so on. I think we're probably not going to have that this year because we're just sort of getting ourselves organized and forming and consolidating some of those groups, but that's been a practice in the past, both a written report and an opportunity to discuss the activities of each of those groups. A gross description of the spending of the benevolence money is certainly an appropriate part of that, but also all the other things that we undertake on your behalf. So as a final feature of this meeting, I'm going to let Amy come up and open the floor to any questions that you might have that you'd like to pose to the council.
Thanks, Frank. Rob, sorry. I'm doing. Let's go like 2 slides. Slide 5, please.
You want to try to look at
Oh yeah, yes, I would love to. But,
No.
no, it's okay. Nope, nothing.
Oh gosh, hang on.
It is on.
Hang on. Try it now.
Try it now.
Yeah. There you go.
So exciting. This is just a reminder in case the annual budget is voted on in the congregation. Fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th. And as Steve mentioned, those are the change requirements. Okay, we did questions. Okay, so just a few things I wanted to highlight before we open it up for questions on anything. The hospitality queen, Miss Eileen downstairs, with the help of Jeff, Joanne, Dorothy, others, Mary Lee, we would love to, especially in Ron's absence, just really have more of a hospitality team. What that would look like is mostly just supporting, probably Eileen, connecting with Eileen and supporting her on Sundays, but for other church events. That might include helping with snacks, not being responsible for the whole table and the whole spread, but helping, as well as maybe helping clean up. So if you have kiddos and can't get here early, she is happy to be here first thing in the morning. Bob has really been, and Frank as well, have been helping set up tables and get things set up. But extra help with snacks and a little cleanup after the service would be so helpful. Jonna is going to help organize. Particularly, we might set this up in planning center, so it's something you can sign up. And if you're like me, get that reminder email. I need those. So if you're interested in those, please let us know. Jonna or myself or any of the elders would be great. I just wanted to let you guys know because I think last town hall we talked about the merger team. They have. Oh no, sorry, the merger team is us. The merger team was Ralph and Bob and Frank and I and Mark, and we were making sure, sort of, in addition to elder meetings, that things about the merger were continuing to move forward. We have completed what we think of as our duties. We had our last meeting. Most of the businesses, great job. So that's really fun. We're excited to be focused on more relational and merger activities. But the bulk of that is done. So that committee is complete. The denomination committee that is in the process of discerning where our denominational home might be is taking a little break. That is mostly because with the business of the merger, we felt like there was a lot on people's plates. Another reason is some of the denominations that we're looking at are in flux, and it maybe wouldn't make sense to choose if we don't know where they're landing. So I believe the denominational committee will pick back up maybe in the fall or early next year. That's that one. Let's see if I can do this next slide. Okay, elder nomination is now open. You should have seen that email. Please let me know if you would like to nominate somebody for the next eldership position. There are cards and PHUs. You could put a name on there and put it in the offering box, or you can email me, or you can tell me. But I would love to hear nominations. I do have a few, but the more we have, that's just exciting. Okay, now it is open for any questions about any subject church related.
June 7th, sounds like it's the next. Oh, there we go.
Yes, important dates. Mother's Day, in case you have a mother or are married to a mother, just friendly reminder, that's next Sunday. June 7th is our congregational meeting, and I believe our signage, our Crown Hill Church signage, will be installed. So there will be some celebration, unveiling our new sign. It will be fun. Pray for good weather, because it's just more fun. And then because we are doing the congregational meeting and the unveiling of Crown Hill Church on the first Sunday, we will do our potluck on the second Sunday. Okay. I'll leave those up there during questions.
Are we doing barbecues this year?
Oh, yeah, I think we are. Mhm.
The Wednesday
Barbecue, the church play streets. I imagine there is an intention to do that. I haven't heard otherwise. So that would be coming soon, really. Oh gosh, no. For our school, there's only 5 weeks left of school, and I can't even really believe that. Oh, seems crazy. No questions? Okay, well, I'm going to pray. Father God, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful sunshine. We weren't expecting to turn our AC on in May, but for all of us that have it, we are grateful. Lord, we're so grateful for the gifts that you've given this church, including all of our members and all of the gifts that you have given each of them, and what everyone brings to the body, and how we all love this church, love to serve this church and each other. I'm so grateful for the hospitality, the gifts of hospitality here, and how we all like to serve each other. Lord, we continue to lift up Celia post-surgery. We continue to lift up Mr. Ron and anybody else in our congregation who is in need of your healing, Lord. Please be with us as we go this week. Help us to celebrate Mother's well next week and every week. We love you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.